So you fled the first time, Carol, from sleep deprivation. What made you go back?
Well, I was still of the mindset that this was a good organization and we were helping people. And that's what I wanted to do. I had signed a billion-year contract. I had signed a billion-year contract. So even though I blew, I down deep, I said I knew I would go back. So I went back after 2 weeks.
And how much longer did you stay this time before you fled?
Until 2008.
Whoa. Whoa.
Yeah.
I want to cover many angles, but can we cover the fleeing this time and what happened?
Well, this time was, I snuck out the last time too, but this time I really had to plan it. And I had to be very smart about it. Because
are there video cameras everywhere?
There's video cameras everywhere and
security guards everywhere.
And security guards everywhere, and you weren't supposed to walk anywhere. You're supposed to take a van between buildings, or a bus. So
Are they worried that if you walk you could flee?
Well, I think they're worried walk you could flee. Plus, you run in to see newspapers and you could buy one. My God, that you should read the newspaper. So I realized I hadn't seen a newspaper for years because we weren't allowed to walk anymore. Anyway, so what I did is I came in early on the early bus when you're less noticed, and I walked a mile to the car rental place. And I rented a car, got the church discount, and snuck it into a garage downtown on the high up floor. And then each morning, for the next few days, I carried tote bags and bags, and I'd just sit in my bus and I'd just hold them, and I'd carry them and stick them in the trunk of the car. And then I cleaned, I couldn't take everything with me, I just took what I could get. And I cleaned up my desk, everything that was personal I put in my bag. And it was my dinner time at 7 o'clock that night. I called my senior and said, I don't feel well. I'm going to go to a place where sick people go and to get better, some medical care. Then I walked out the door at 7 o'clock, got in the car, and drove away. And I found a Holiday Inn about 80 miles away and spent the night.
How long were you gone this time before you went back?
2 weeks.
You were gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I finally got a call and telling me that if I did not return, I would be declared a suppressive person. Now, I had no intentions of ever going back on staff again this time. This time I knew I was done. But I did not want to be declared a suppressive person because of my daughter and my grandchildren.
What would they do with your daughter and grandchildren if they declared you suppressive person?
Well, they would make her disconnect from me.
And she would never speak to you again?
Right.
And you'd never see your grandchildren?
Right. Now,
so the thuggery and the leverage on you is, you do as we say, or we will deem you to be an antisocial personality.
Right. And the day that I did blow, they pulled her right in and put her in a sec check.
Your daughter?
Mm-hmm. They wanted to know what she knew about it. And she did. I made sure she didn't know a thing because I knew that would happen.
Yes.
So I never told her what I was going to do. Well, at the end, I have to tell you, staff members would not talk to one another. We were too afraid to have any kind of chit-chat because you never knew what might get written up later as misunderstood from what you said or taken what you said, write it up, next thing you know, you're in ethics trouble.
If you told someone you were thinking of moving on or leaving,
oh, you wouldn't. No, you'd never do that.
Right. You would be ratted on even by your best friend.
Absolutely.
Everybody turns and
it's your
everybody
duty to report something like that.
Yeah. In fact, people can just suspect it. Rumor mongering and gossip is totally legal. In fact, it's part and parcel of the church. Rumor mongering, as long as you call it a knowledge report.
Right.
People have shut down their communication even from Sea Org member to Sea Org member.
Yeah, the very first course a person does when they start Scientology is called a communications course. And you think, oh yeah, I'm going to learn how to communicate better. I had been in sales when I first started. I said, I want to be able to sell better. I want to be able to communicate. And by the time I left, nobody was talking to anybody. And in fact, when I got home, I realized that my mouth was shut. And it was hard for me to talk to anyone because I was so afraid that somebody was going to evaluate what I was saying or shut me down. And so it took me a while before I started talking.
Shutting you down.
That mindset was so strong that I kept believing it even after I was gone. I didn't know where the trouble was coming from, you see. I just knew I had to leave. And it wasn't until several months later when somebody contacted me that was an independent Scientologist and told me what the story was. And I didn't know that. I didn't know where it was coming from. I didn't know it was Miscavige because all the Sea Org members that I knew said, well, David Miscavige couldn't possibly know about the conditions we're having here at Flag. Couldn't possibly be wanting the elite Sea Org members to be going without sleep and without food. Well, guess what? It was coming from him.
Yeah.
And we didn't know who to report it to. Nobody was too afraid to do anything about it.